Aotearoa, and welcome to Wednesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect New Zealand. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news that global economic expansion is losing pace, led by the US. But first up today, the overnight dairy auction pulled back, as expected, but perhaps not as much as the derivatives market suggested. In the end, prices were down 1.6% in US dollar terms, down 3% in New Zealand dollar terms on a rising Kiwi dollar. It was a mixed picture across the commodities offered. In the US, the weekly Red Book retail monitor pulled back last week to be only 4.9% higher than the same week a year ago. That is a sharpish dip from the prior week's 6.1% and mid-April's 7.4%. Much of this may be attributable to tariff tax increases, with sales volumes easing faster now. Meanwhile, April job openings in the US were little changed, but they did come in slightly higher than expected at 7.4 million. We get the May non-farm payrolls report this Saturday New Zealand time, and that is expected to show a modest 130,000 rise. Meanwhile, April factory orders in the US came in weak, down a sharp 3.7% following the boosted March gain of 3.4%. Between the 2 months, a slight easing that was setting in since last November. From April 2024, these order levels are up 0.6%, and that is before accounting for inflation. And the US Logistics Managers Index rose, but because inventory costs, warehousing utilization, and transportation prices all rose at a faster rate, probably not the indicators that help their economy. But the latest Real Clear Markets TIPP Optimism Survey did rise for positive reasons, but only back to levels it was in November, after retreating rather sharply from a February high. The tariff tax staggers may be easing amongst investors, and the surveys say this indicates US consumers are closer to optimism now. In Canada, Canadians have so heavily altered their travel plans to the US that their duty-free stores at the border seem to be on their knees in what is being called a collapse. In South Korea, the candidate of the more liberal Democratic Party seems to be the winner of Tuesday's snap presidential election. It is a clear break, with voters turning away from the Conservative Party, whose previous president triggered their constitutional crisis. It is a win for the rule of law. The other main candidate has conceded. In China, they have delivered something of a surprise. The May Caixin China factory PMI unexpectedly dropped to 48.3, down from April's expanding 50.4, and missing market forecasts of a faster expansion. This was the first contraction in the sector in 8 months, and the steepest since September 2022. Output shrank alongside a renewed drop in new orders, with foreign sales declining at a faster pace. The official factory PMI came in at 49.5, a small improvement, that is, a lesser decline. Eurozone consumer price inflation eased to 1.9% in May, down from 2.2% in April, and below market expectations of 2%. With inflation under control, that gives the ECB some room to trim interest rates further at their Friday review. Globally, the OECD has lowered its economic expansion forecasts as the Trump tariff taxes bite, and the US economy is the one they see suffering as much as others from the impact. And that is spurring free trade talks amongst other nations, especially between Australia and the EU. And in Australia, their Fair Work Commission has announced that the national minimum wage and award wages will increase by 3.5% from the 1st of July, following their annual wage review. That means their national minimum wage will increase by 85 cents to $24.95. That means their national minimum wage will increase by 85 cents to $24.95 per hour. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.46% and unchanged from yesterday. And the price of gold will start today at $3,353 an ounce, down $22 from yesterday. And oil prices are up 50 cents at just on $63.50 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is up $1 at $66 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is now at 60.1 US cents, a 10 basis points dip from yesterday at this time. Against the Aussie, we're down 10 basis points as well at 92.8 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're unchanged at 52.7 euro cents. That all means our trade weighted index starts today at just on 68.1 and also down 10 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $105,965 and up 1.6% from yesterday. Volatility of the past 24 hours has again been modest, at just on plus or minus 1.2%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.